Good evening, and welcome to a new edition of Urban Sentinel Live. And I'm your host, Reggie Kearney, and I'm glad to be with you on this Monday night. And we're a little late tonight. I'm not going to tell you why. I'm just going to leave that alone. But we're about 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late. But we are here. We took off last week, but we're back this Monday. My guest for tonight is Jacqueline Manning. She's an ANC commissioner over in D.C., and I'm gonna let her explain to you what, let's say Washington D.C., because some of y'all
Yes,
might not know.
thank you.
Y'all might think D.C. is deep country. You know how you was back in the day. But she's an ANC commissioner back in Washington D.C., and she will explain to you what an ANC commissioner does. Jackie, how you
Yes, so
doing?
first of
I'm
all,
glad
let me
to have you.
apologize for the technical difficulties that were on my end. So since you couldn't tell why, it's all good. Somebody got to
Yeah, it
take
is.
it. So it was on my
Yeah.
end. But anyway, thank you for having me tonight. An advisory neighborhood commissioner advised a single member district, 1,500 constituents or more, about what is coming about in the neighborhood. They advise them, they give them the notices, where it's from an ABRA license to constructions to changes in the neighborhood, DDOT, Office of Planning, comprehensive planning, to new construction. It can be anything. The great thing about this, you have a say. We are the one level below council, and council like to come to us all the time, and sometimes council do not like to respect us either. So they like to think, you will hear a lot of the council members say that the advisory neighborhood commission has never had to run for that seat, even though it is a elected seat. It's an elected seat, and a lot of councils like to say, "Well, I didn't have to run to be an advisory neighborhood commissioner to become council." And that's something some people need to think about, because they like to say it's a thankless job. And we could say that the council is a thankless job. We could say that being a congressman or a senator could be a thankless job. But let's think about it. We're the ones that are putting things in place, because you come to us every election year to make sure that you get elected for your seat again. So that's what advisory neighborhood commission does.
You need to flip.
Basically, bring notice.
Well, you need to flip the strip. Flip the strip on it and run for office yourself and become a councilwoman in the city of Washington D.C. So tell me, how did you get involved in politics? I know you've been doing it for a long time. Tell the audience how you became involved in politics.
Um, my parents, listen to my parents, my family.
Mm-hmm.
They We don't like to say politics is about our rights. So everybody likes to say, when you are standing up for something you believe, it becomes political, or when it is something that go against the grain, is political. So we've always talked about, what folks people say, we talked about what was going on in the world, so you could be aware of what's going on. So it was my parents, my grandparents sitting around the table, sitting around family reunions, sitting around dinner tables. You know, people talk about what's going on, what matters, what party you select, what do you believe in, what's fair, firm, and right. And that's how I got involved with.
Oh, okay. So tell me, what was your
And
thoughts
my
about?
beloved godmother. And my beloved godmother.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. She was involved in the happenings of D.C. I forgot all about my aunt. Now tell me,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts about Washington D.C. becoming a 51st state? I know what they are, but tell the audience about your thoughts about the city becoming a 51st state.
Is it time? It's overdue. We pay more taxes than anybody in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not going to make us a state, they need to give us some amenities.
Mm-hmm.
So that needs to be hand in hand. If you're not going to make us a state, you're not giving us a justified reason why you're not making a state, and we should
Mm-hmm.
be Douglas Columbus.
Yeah. And when
So
you
if we're go ahead.
not to cut you off, but when you look at it from the bottom up, I mean, Washington D.C. is larger than the bottom four states, the bottom three states. So
True.
Washington does carry a lot of clout, and it should be the 51st state. But what do you think the reason is? What's the overall reason for people not wanting Washington to become a state?
I'm glad you asked me that. Too much power. We will have two council for each ward because it's total 8 wards. So it would be two council members for each ward. Um, the power, and right now we're still the chocolate city. And because of that,
Mm-hmm.
the history of the district was not for anyone to live here. So it's more about the enslaved and the different amenities they gave then. So now folks are living here.
Mm-hmm.
And until that change, it's something different. But right now, there are a lot of congressmen that don't believe that the city should be a state,
Mm-hmm.
and
And the
they're not
thing,
giving into that.
and the thing is, Washington would never become a Republican uh, city or state if it becomes a state. It's always going to be Democrat, and I think a lot of it is based on race, like you said, it's based on power, and it's also based on the fact that it would put the Democrats in the majority uh, many times, especially in the Senate, if Washington becomes a state. So it's something that's very well needed. It's needed. It's needed. You know, let's look at the neighborhoods for a minute, okay? Um, it- Give me your thoughts on the recent incident where the young ladies were, well, actually tried to carjack a Uber Eats driver. Give me your thoughts about that, and talk to me about what we can do to get our young people stable and more involved in things in the community that keeps them busy and keeps the focus away from doing stuff that's going to mess up their life.
So prayers first for both families because that was a very unfortunate situation.
Hmm.
Um, so when you look at services, I think DC has all kinds of services for everybody. That's why a lot of time people flock to the district, because they have age in place for seniors. They have all kind of resources. A crime is a crime at the end of the day. If it's fine, you do the crime, you're innocent until proven guilty. That now in real time, you see everything that's being on the camera. Live camera, live time.
Hmm.
That was a tragedy. That's somebody's father, husband, brother, uncle who lost their lives on a carjacking situation. I'm not sure how they're going to be tried. What is the system? Juvenile system has changed so tremendously, so it's tragic on both ends. As it relates to what we have right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Things are closed down. People are losing their jobs. Um, it's hard for the school system to. And let me take that back. So if they're in school, that was a Saturday, I believe. But the activity of a young person, you can't say in this different age. Most time, are you at that age thinking of doing harm to someone? Can't imagine that. So I can't speak to my era because it's different from today's. It's a process of what are you thinking? What are you trying to join that cause you to cause harm to someone? Can I say that they were thinking that they would kill someone? I can't say that.
Hmm.
I can't.
Hmm.
And so panic set in. I believe a taser was involved. I'm not sure. I don't want to get into that because I don't want to
Hmm.
guesstimate that. But all I
Hmm.
can say is a tragic on both sides
Yes,
for all parties involved. Someone lost their life, and that's the bigger end of that. Someone working lost their life delivering food.
mhm.
A lot of times we see these drivers who deliver food and everything. They leave their car running, jumping back in. Are you thinking that you're going to work that because you're doing that you're going to be carjacked? Carjacking has been on the rise um, for years. It's been on the rise since even more now. Idle time.
Mhm.
It's a very idle time. Are we opening back up? We can't say if the town is open back up. We really can't say. But we cannot blame the pandemic on people's actions.
Mm-hmm. 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 Well, the only thing I would say about that is the pandemic has given young people a little more time on their hands. You know, I forget what time that incident happened, but those young ladies should have been at home in front of the computer working on schoolwork. That's what they should have been doing, you know. So we got to do a lot in our communities. And I know Washington has a lot of programs. You all do a great job with programs for the neighborhoods, for the seniors, like you said, for the young people. And I think people got to take advantage of it. You know, we got to figure out a way to get the churches involved, sororities and fraternities and other organizations involved to do mentorship and things of that nature to really
I
lock
think they're
down.
all involved.
Uh-huh.
No, I think everyone is involved.
Mhm.
It's just finding those resources. The resources are there, and they get out
Mhm.
in different places. And Mayor Basel, who's doing an outstanding job in the city,
Mhm.
she lived where it's 50 different things can happen. So
Mhm.
they're there. There's agencies. I believe that everybody is doing their part where they can.
Mhm.
In different parts of the city. So are they in 5, 7, and 8? No. So are they, we're always pushing stuff to those wards 1 through 4, but we're not pushing it so much in through 5, 7, and 8. And that's a problem because
Mhm.
that's where we're having most of everyone that are needing the services, the activities, those things. And
Mhm.
that's where they're needed. But I'm not going to say no one is not doing anything.
Mhm.
That's
Well, no, I didn't
I
say
give
they're
them
not doing anything, but I
no.
think you got to be more involvement. I mean, even here where I live at in the county I live in, you know, you provide programs, but it's not full participation. You know, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, how do we get parents or grandparents or guardians to become more fully invested into these programs and get their young people involved in these programs. You know, like I said, it's not just a city issue; it's a country issue. You know, a county issue. You know, in smaller places like in where I live at. You know, we still got to kind of push and coerce parents to say, look, hey, let us have your young man for 1 hour on Saturday, once a month, just to go over stuff with them. So I think we'll get there. It's a lot of work. It takes a village. Okay, it
Oh,
definitely takes a village. you
it takes a village, but
Mhm.
it definitely takes a village, but it starts at home too.
Yeah.
Everything starts at home. And if you don't have it from there, it goes out, it goes
Mhm.
into the neighborhood and everywhere else. So you're
Yeah.
not expecting your loved ones to leave the house and not return.
Right. And
And
look.
that's what's happening. A lot of loved ones are not returning, be it being incarcerated or death.
Yeah. It's sad. So tell me, okay, Maryland just passed a major police reform bill. Uh, so we're getting it done over here in Maryland, okay? How are things going in Washington when it comes to police reform? I know there's been a lot of pushback from the union and mainly the union. So how is that going as far as in Washington as far as bring together some type of police reform?
So we are just just getting a new chief of police, Chief Conti, and
Hmm.
I think that process will go through with police reform. But our process is different because, as you know, you have MPD, you have the U.S. Capitol Police, you have Secret Service, and then you have Park Police.
Hmm.
Out of the four, the three of those are federal. So as it relates to MPD, that's something different. I think we have had incidents, not as those that occur places because we know how to resolve them, but I think we will constantly have different. I believe in Chief Conti. I think this will be because he's a native Washingtonian. For one, he knows the culture of the city, so that's something different than bringing someone outside that does not. And
Hmm.
to work along with the federal government, that's something different that has always operated totally differently from everywhere else because they feel that they are they shut everything down. As we experienced last year through Black Lives Matter, things, how they unfortunately illegally operated with different things. That's Jack's opinion. Um, those things have to come together because they still need MPD. As you see, they have to call MPD in order to assist. So I think we will always have those conversations. I know when Chief Newsham was first appointed, he had met with a lot of the ANCs and to talk about the racial divide. And in Ward 5, where I live, he met with several ANCs, and we talked about that as well and his approach to that. So it's different, and everybody gave their experiences because it still exists. So
Mm-hmm.
you're hiring, if you're hiring officers who come from an area where they may have never dealt with progressive professional Black folks, that's a problem because you're probably a learned behavior. You learn something different about something negative about us that should that be, so you never experienced us. So that's a difference. So when you approach us, I have experienced it myself. So when you
Mm-hmm.
approach us, there's something different. So of course, we have to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we're running to the media with that, but we have to deal with that.
Right, right. Yeah, it's gonna be a long process throughout the country. I think we eventually will get there in 4 or 5 years, and but it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while to get there where we need to get there. Now, look, let's talk about something that's near and dear to your heart. Let's talk about your health initiatives.
So breast cancer is one, and also the senior initiative, just making sure that we're healthy, we're thriving in place. We have a lot of desert areas. We have a lot of areas that we need to do studies on. That we looking at the percentage of breast cancer in the areas environmentally. Yes, it is different things that could be happen. African American women with dense breasts. So what does that mean? That the doctor overlook it, so they say wait 6 months. No, by the time you wait 6 months to have your mammogram again, you could be in stage 4 cancer, and those studies are starting to show. And so that's important to me, especially with my situation of having experienced that, because you're in total flight nervous, right? So you're on another flight level, and so you're like, this is happening now in the early stages or not. So you go through that process and where the doctors are, and especially when it shows up, and then radiology, and you go through. So prayerfully, my second test will come back negative. But think about the women before me, like my mom, that was misdiagnosed. So we have to look at those things in those studies to say, hey, what can we do? What can be done better? Not waiting and not allowing a doctor to say, we wait 6 months, you aggressively lose this weight. So we have to come back and constantly stay on our doctors and on our own health watch to make sure that we're environmentally healthy, safe, and that we're doing the right thing on our part, and that our doctors are also. So that's what's near and dear. That's what's so important to me.
Okay, good. I mean, how can you, as an ANC commissioner, tell your constituents in your area and talk to them and get them to consider taking the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine, because there's a lot of concern that in our cities that people aren't willing, because of some of the things we've gone through in the past as a race, that we're not interested in doing the getting the vaccine. So what would you tell your constituents?
I would say to them, um, I took the vaccine, my second vaccine on Friday. And yes,
Hmm.
I was scared to take the vaccine, but I did my research. And with everything, there is a research, and you have to feel comfortable with it. What was important for me, the longevity for me, because it's me taking care of me. And so I am no good to no one else if I'm not healthy. And so you have to love self and understand that. Are there side effects? Yes. If you read every pill that's out there on the market, there is a side effect. If you're
Mm-hmm.
taking metformin, there is a side effect. If you're taking Coumadin, there is a side effect. If you're taking warfarin, there is a side effect. Matter of fact, warfarin is used as rat poison. So I can go on and on and on, and I'm not trying to, I am not being negative to any pharmaceutical company, but what I'm explaining is every, if you're on a prescribed medicine, there is a side effect,
Mm-hmm.
and it's messing with something else, some type of major artery in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, with the Moderna, I took the Moderna is two shots. Yes, the second one, it I had pain from that. Yes, I felt like I was in a my arm felt a little like a train wreck, and I felt tired. But I constantly hydrated myself. We hydrate ourselves anyway, and
Mm-hmm.
I also took a Tylenol pill, and I felt better. I was able to walk to do over 10,000 steps today, and I feel great. So I say this: we know that this um, strand of COVID is not going anywhere no time soon. And they may not be able, there's different strands that's going to be out there. It's the same with the flu shot. You have to take care of yourself. There's different
Mm-hmm.
things that's coming about, just like the flu shot has side effects, different things have happened. You have to do the research and make sure it's good for you. If you have an underlying condition, talk to your doctor about it. Talk to your doctor about it. If you're waiting to see what's going on, that's fine. But at some point, you need to protect yourself from others and your loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the take care of you first. You hear everybody talk about self care. Self care should have been done a long time ago. You should have been doing that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, this is out here. Do the research. Different things are coming about. Read. Read it for yourself. If you're waiting, don't wait too late.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you because I've had both of my shots, and I was fortunate to be in the first group of people that took it here in Maryland in January because of my outside activities.
Hmm.
And I tell you, Lord, have mercy. I had Moderna too. I said, Lord, if I know I was gonna feel like this, I would never even taken it.
I know,
And
right?
yeah, and see, I knew what my reaction was going to be because I take the flu shot every year, so I knew what I was in for, and definitely it happened to me both times. But I want to, go. I want to be able to go to North Carolina and see my mother who's 86. I want to go to
Yeah.
Houston to see my grandkids. See other family members. And I want to live. That's the bottom line. If
Right.
I want to live, and I don't want to be stuck in a hospital
A
on ventilator.
respirator.
Yeah,
Right.
and so that's
What
what.
people don't yeah, and people
Yeah.
don't understand a ventilator going on trying to get on a ventilator can kill you
Hmm.
as it is coming off of it. And those
Yeah.
are the things we don't understand. But at the
Hmm.
same time, that's why I say, oh, I tell people all the time, I say I'm not taking it. But then I thought about the different things and started reading about it, how important it is because there's another strand coming. Not to make
Yeah.
anybody nervous, but I understand the most important thing is having access to it for those who do
Right.
want to take it that are not Kaiser patients, because Kaiser is making sure that their patients are taking the vaccination, so they're
Hmm.
not trying to get on somebody's list around the city. Let us know if you can't get on there. Let us know if you can't pre-register. We'll find a way to find me, text me, let me know that you can't get on there. So we'll find a way to get you on the list so someone can make an appointment for you to be vaccinated. You'll be able to go to one of the one area, one of the locations in the 8 wards. As the mayor said, all 8 wards are set up to um, get you vaccinated. And then you wait
Hmm.
another 10 to 14 days to get the next shot. But the most important thing, we need to hear from you. If the internet is not working for you or someone on the line is not getting you connected, let us know. That's the most important thing. So we'll know to help you, to better assist you. Or if you somewhere where we can come to you, we can do that too. And
Hmm.
that's what's happening in the city. I'll come to
Hmm.
you. Hey, I have no problem. I'll you can get my car, whatever. We'll set up a tent in your neighborhood to make sure that you're vaccinated.
Yeah, that's great. That is great. So look, before we close out, do you miss the old life where you were a music executive? Do you miss that?
Well, do I? Of
Mm-hmm.
course I do. I miss it. I still communicate. I still keep in touch with Steve Greenberg. I still keep, we lost Betty Wright last year, but I still keep
Mm-hmm.
with that was a hard blow to the music industry. And just like now, we just lost DMX. So yeah, I do miss that part of me, but I'm still in the background doing things and I'm good at keeping in touch with folks and pointing people in the right direction of
Right.
contact to make sure that it's successful. You
Mm-hmm.
never know what may turn up.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely.
You
I tell
never know.
you.
I mean, you move for. I know who would have thought going from New York, opening a boutique in New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina would blow me back to DC, and I would be an advocate. I've always been civic mind, been in civic engagement because of
Mm-hmm.
my parents and my
Right.
godmother. But I can't. It's always been. I've always been a fighter,
Mm-hmm.
so you never know what may come out of DC in these different changes because a lot of people don't know that. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times when I'm dealing with other folks, they don't know. They don't. They say all kind of crazy stuff, and you're like, "That's all right," you know. So you have to thank them for the free advertisement that they give you.
Yeah. Yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely. I
Yeah.
tell you, Washington is the home of the go-go. The
Oh yeah.
go-go
Don't.
state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Go
Yeah.
go. Don't leave our go go out. We
Yeah.
love our go
Yeah.
go here. It's the best
Yeah.
music in the state. So always go go is
Mm-hmm.
alive. It can uh, kudos to Councilman the Ward 5. I must say, Councilmember
Mm-hmm.
McDuffie, who made sure it was our music for the town. I don't say
Yeah.
we're a city yet because we're not a state, but thank God that he did that. So, go go. Everybody loves go go. Even when I
Oh
was in
yeah.
New York, I had my different tastes and stuff. My neighbors just say, "What are you playing?" I said, "Just go with it. Just go with it. It's go go. That's
Yeah.
what we put."
That's right.
You know, my friends will always say, "How you come from with that little salty Southern talk that you talk up here with that go go?" I said, "Oh, it ain't going nowhere. Trust me, it's gonna be around for a
Yeah.
long time."
That is the sound. That is
Yeah,
the
that
sound.
is a
Chuck
sound.
Brown and all the guys.
Everybody, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Everybody move with go go. All of
Yeah.
our
That's the
bands.
sound. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Jackie, I've enjoyed this 30 minutes of time I spent with you, just talking to Jacqueline Manning, who's an ANC commissioner. I call her Jackie. She's very involved in DC, the DC political scene. Who knows? She might even run for mayor one day. I know she keep every time I say
No.
something about going high, she say no.
Mm-mm.
But you never know, she might be involved. Now
No.
tomorrow night, if
Uh-uh.
you all want
I.
some hard, if you want some hard hitting politics tomorrow night, come back with us and join us tomorrow night on Real World News TV, which is another Facebook page, and we're just going to be rehashing the top stories in the news for the last couple of weeks because we were off on that show last week. Before I go tonight, I want to send my love to the people in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Hey, my
Definitely.
brothers and sisters out there, you're going through a lot. Lost another young man yesterday to police violence, a gun shooting. Just keep up the fight. Literally, I don't mean go out and fight, but keep up the fight. Keep your voices out there. We got to make a change in this country. We really have
Definitely.
got to make a change in this country. I don't know what it's going to take. Here we are. We're just getting into April, and we've lost a young man to a police shooting. And we still got some more months to go before the year is out. So we got to pray that nothing else happens before the year is out. We really do.
Well, you pray for change, but also
Yeah,
you cannot sit and wait for others to do the work. We
yeah.
all have to do our part in that. And you also have to make sure that the person you put in office is doing that job for
Mm-hmm.
you. And if
Yeah,
not, you need to find somebody else to sit in that seat. But it's
that's
up
right.
to you to make it to the polls and also watch Atlanta, what's going on.
Yeah.
Aren't we doing that bus to Atlanta? Are we gonna do the
Hey,
bus to Atlanta?
Hey, we're gonna do the best everywhere. We're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it done. So look, people, come back tomorrow night with me and Sherry Ann Tapp at 8:30 p.m. Uh, on the East Coast for Real World News TV. Again, I thank my good friend Jacqueline Manning for being with me, my cuz. You know, I call her my cuz and everything because my aunt was her godmother. So we've known each other for years, but I really have enjoyed sitting down talking with you tonight, Jackie. And I know you'll be back again, you know, because we got to keep
Of
up with
course.
what's going on in the nation's capital. And I think it's good for people around the country to be able to find out and to know what's going on in our nation's capital. So again,
Most
thank
definitely.
you, thank you,
Thank
thank you. I
you.
appreciate it, and we'll be
Thank
talking.
you.
Take care,
All right.
everyone.
Take care, everyone. Good night.
Good night.